It is Natasha. Natasha, I'm going to do this and gain some brownie points here on pronouncing your name the right way for once. Srdoc. Did that get close?
Yes, it is. It is Srdoc, but I don't mind. I mean, you pronounced it perfectly. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for taking the time here. The headline story is White House National Security Communication Advisor John Kirby said the United States expects that if Hamas agrees to a recent three-phase proposal to end fighting in Gaza, Israel would say yes. It is an Israeli proposal, one that they've arrived at after intense diplomacy with their own national security team and over at the State Department. What do you know about this agreement, and what's the status of this?
Right. Actually, what we know about this agreement is what we can see from the news, that they're showing three phases of a ceasefire deal, which was outlined by President Biden. And President Biden has been saying that, this deal has been on the table, and he's showing it now to show the public what is at stake and why the parties are not accepting to sign it. But basically, this same agreement could have been implemented after the first temporary ceasefire was done from November 24 for 7 or so many other weeks. So basically, it could have been done months ago, and it hasn't happened. And it hasn't happened because it doesn't actually reach the objective of eliminating Hamas and bringing hostages back. So basically, for the ceasefire to be accepted from Israeli side is to actually eliminate Hamas, to destroy Hamas, for it not to be able to do what they did again on October 7th, killing 1,200 Israelis and taking 240 hostages. So as long as Hamas is able to survive, there will always be a threat on the border of Israel. And basically, again, this plan, the timing of this plan is actually Biden's re-election, nothing else. It's a political liability that he wants to resolve before the elections.
He needs, Natasha, a win, and this would be a win only in words. It would not be a win for anything else. How close do you think they are as far as Israel from achieving their objective?
Right. So it's hard. They see there's some 4 or 5 brigades still, Hamas brigades still in the area of Rafah, hiding in underground tunnels. And there is an underground tunnel established between, on the border between Egypt and Israel. So it's the southern border across 9 miles, whereby all the military weapons and all that, basically that to prolong the war, it's coming through. So Israeli army has to destroy those underground tunnels, which are allowing Hamas to regroup, to rearm, and continue the war. And at the same time to get rid of Hamas, because as long as Hamas is not militarily destroyed, they will always present a threat to Israel. And basically also their master Iran, which is funding Hamas as well as other terrorist groups or groups in the region to attack Israel, has to be dealt with at the same time. So it's a more complex situation, and it was a status quo for a period of time because Iran didn't have funding. And it was America that actually, President Biden's administration, that allowed Iran to get a huge amount of funding as well as sanctions removed, whereby exports of oil, they amassed funding to be able to fund terrorist groups, Hamas, Palestinian Jihad, and Houthis in Yemen, as well as Hezbollah in Lebanon.
It's a little like cancer, where at some point the cancer is saying, enough of this. We've had enough treatments. You're killing some good cells in here with me, and stop it. And if you just stop it, I won't progress at all. Cancer being cancer, if you don't take it all out, it's going to come back. And that's the same thing with this, because they basically said this, have they not? As long as there's, the Hamas movement, and as long as you occupy this land, our number one objective is to kill you and remove you. So how do you cut any kind of agreement with someone where that's their sworn objective?
Right. I mean, that's the problem. You really need to get rid of them. You need. I mean, they cannot be military capable to attack Israel again, and secondly, they can't be a governing party as they were for Gaza. So basically, Gazans are also victims. Palestinians living in Gaza Strip are also victims of their Hamas, because Hamas, there were no elections for decades in Gaza Strip. So basically, this authoritarian regime is attacking Israel, trying to destroy it, as well as Iran that is funding them, but also, oppressing their people. So basically, when we talked about the Abraham Accord, this is a great success of the Trump administration, whereby the Arab countries, for the first time, normalized their relations with Israel, among them UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan. And it was on the verge of Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accord when Hamas's attack happened, because Iran could not allow this kind of alliance of Arab states with Israel, becoming so connected. It gets a bit, on one side against Iran, because Iran is an authoritarian regime that is actually in a constant conflict with these other, moderate.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think as far as the protest and all of the outrage going on as far as universities, has that peaked, and do you think it's over because it probably hasn't achieved any of the objectives that they wanted?
Right. That's a question because there's this Hamas is actually winning the public war. If we see on American campuses American students supporting Hamas, which is a terrorist organization,
yes.
I mean, that's unbelievable. So basically, we are doing a poor job. This is a great media that we are part of, Mississippi SuperTalk, where we are talking about the truth, what is going on in Middle East and Israel and the conflict. But most of the mainstream media is actually skewing the picture and presenting Hamas as a liberation kind of entity, whereby the students are cheering for them on the one side. That was actually also the other side of it. The other side was that they were funded by groups that are trying to basically build this division within America. But the problem, I think, is to see what is really going on. And the good news, actually, when you think about the students because the students really damaged also the position of Israel as an internationally recognized almost pariah state. But another development that has been just actually announced is that countries of Europe, actually Britain, France, and Germany, submitted a resolution to the UN Nuclear Watchdog Board censuring Iran over its lack of cooperation with the agency. And they say, despite U.S. opposition. So that means that America is against a resolution to actually reduce nuclear capabilities of Iran.
Let me ask you this. Did you see, what were your thoughts when you saw I guess it was in New York, the big parade of LGBTQ and the Pride parade run into the Palestinian parade, and they ran into each other. That was a picture for the week there. But what were your thoughts when you saw that?
Right. I mean, the thing is that talking about human rights, talking about women's rights, talking about LGBT community rights, they would not survive in Gaza.
No.
I mean, they would be killed. I mean, this is a regime that openly says they're against.
Here is, and we only got a couple of seconds left before it takes us away. But first of all, I want to say thank you. But secondly, it's bad that happens at institutions of higher learning. You would think, Natasha, that they know that there, but they don't. It is always a pleasure. We love listening to the program, co-host of America's Roundtable radio program, co-founder of International Leaders Summit, always great guest on the weekend. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.